Hello you lovely lot and welcome to a new video. My name is Katie and of course it's time for ScrawlrBox. And wow, this one arrived super early, so I'm actually quite happy about that, but I shall go into that a little bit further into the video. As always, we get a print and the artist of this month is Francesca Franceschi. I'm really sorry that I've butchered the pronunciation there, but I love that print. It's so nice. I really like it. So obviously this is going to be quite a colourful box. And of course it is, because there's a sneaky little peek at the prompt. Oh well, let's take a look at the sticker though. Love that too. It's nice to have some colour. Not suggesting that we haven't, but I really needed this box. So on first impressions, we have some of the Ecoline water-based markers, a Copic multi-liner, a Castell black lead pencil in 2B, and I have to say possibly my most favourite paper that ScrawlrBox has done so far. It's a A5 mixed media pad. Of course, as well, we get the ScrawlrZine, and that has loads of great features in there about the featured artist, as well as featuring the work of artists who have done the prompt for previous boxes. So well done you guys for being in there. Oh my, how many times did I say featured then? Anyway, let us talk about the delightful goodies of the May box. So if you're a bit of a long-time viewer, I've definitely featured these Ecoline markers before. However, these have got a nice little twist to them. They have a chisel tip at one end and a bullet nib at the other, which is great actually. That's a fab idea. They're in the primaries, so we have a lemon yellow primary, we have a magenta, and we have a sky blue, which is also labelled as cyan. So proper primaries here. The liner pen that we have is a Copic, and it is a permanent water-based liner. It boasts that upon drying it becomes waterproof and Copic marker proof as well, so that is a nice pen. It is in the size 1.0. Obviously it's black, but I like it. It's nice. It's a nice liner. You know I like a nice liner. The pencil we have is a Castell black lead pencil in 2B. There's not really a huge amount to say on that. It is a pencil and it does what a pencil does. And finally, oh my gosh, the nicest ScrawlrBox paper we've had so far. ScrawlrBox, if you are watching my dears, please make this paper available because it really is so nice. It's a mixed media pad, it's 250 GSM and it's ideal for use with acrylics, watercolours, gouache ink, pastels, pens, markers and pencil. I use all of those. I need more of this paper in my life. But anyway, enough of that. Let's get some composition back, shall we? Because we have a prompt to do, and this month's prompt is quite aptly kaleidoscope. Now, I know this month's box did not come with a brush, but I used last month's brush to do the job, and I'm okay with that. These pens love a bit of water thrown on them and smooshed around, so that is exactly what I did. Oh, and before I forget, the candy we got this month was a old school bubblegum. I would tell you what it tasted like, but my husband had that off me, so unfortunately, I can't tell you what that particular one was like, but back in the day of school, I remember them tasting ever so slightly of nail varnish, specifically clear nail varnish, but you know, that was just my perception on that. Don't ask how I can compare the two. Anyway, waffling, let's talk about the picture. I'll be honest, it took me a little while to settle on an idea as to what to do with this, but I thought let's just create a character with some nice kaleidoscope hair. You'll see that I scribbled the pens into a small palette and then added some water to dilute them, and I wanted my first application to have a nice gradient there, so this method worked really well and I just used it like a watercolour. But these pens are really good for that. The pigments are quite nice and bold, and even though they look quite pastel-y here, that's just because I added quite a bit of water to it. You'll have noticed on the swatches when I activated it with the water, they do pack quite a nice punch, but I wanted to start off quite subtly on this one and take it from there. I decided to not go for a rainbow effect with this and just, I guess, blended the colours that I wanted to blend at the time, and I was just feeling that blue and magenta and those beautiful purple tones in between there with some yellow tips, which when next to that magenta created such a beautiful, nice, soft, I suppose orangey, reddy pink. I don't know, but obviously it's the type of pigments that are in these paints which just give that nice sort of luminosity there. But anyway, I really enjoyed playing with this box. I really did actually kind of need something like this at the moment. I know a lot of you have very kindly passed their condolences on. I've recently suffered a loss and I just needed something nice and cheerful just to sort of, I guess, help me go through the motions a little bit. Being able to create art is such a great thing to be able to do during times like this. I haven't done anything too deep or too meaningful. I've just sort of gone along with things and enjoyed it. And I'm not even going to say this is a grief piece or anything. It's just something that needed to come out. You could say that my inner child took over from this one and it needed cheering up, so that's what I did. But anyway, I'm really waffling, but I just, again, want to say thank you for your lovely, kind messages. Honestly, it really does mean a lot to me, and I'm so lucky to have such lovely people who subscribe and watch my channel, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. But anyway, let's talk about the picture, shall we? So obviously everything's dried off now and you can see it's a little bit lighter than how it went down, but I love how it dried and I really wanted it to stand out a little bit more. So using that Copic liner pen, and it was a good job, it was a bit of a chunky one, that allowed me to add a really nice black background so everything would stand out perfectly. Yes, it was still a liner. It definitely took a little while, but that's okay, and I have spared you from that. But if you'll see on screen now, that's the best technique to just do it, just long, broad lines and hope for the best. But as you can see, it worked out quite well, and it was back to playing with those beautiful colours again. I wanted to try and add a little bit of depth, so I went in there with that blue again, because that blue was just hitting me in the right place there, I'm not going to lie. And I went in there, well, the water was still wet and it ever so slightly chewed up the paper, and I think it was just because it was a little overwhelmed. So if you're going to adopt that technique yourself, just be mindful that it might just shred your paper up ever so slightly, and don't, unless that is what you want. But I alternated between the magenta and the cyan just for the main lines of the hair. I do actually go over it again with Copic, but it was nice for it to have that, I guess, halo effect either side of that black line that I had on there. You'll see when it comes to the time. And just around where the face of the character is, I did just add a little bit more depth again, just playing around really and seeing what happened, and it was nice. It was just fun. I actually just quite like the simplicity of this one, and as much as every part of me wanted to go into horrifically intricate details like I always do, it was kind of nice just to be a little bit more chill with this one. Like I say, it was good for my inner child. I also added some additional lines in there with the yellow. It doesn't show up a massive amount, but it does just ever so slightly introduce a little bit of a green tone where that blue is. And I'm okay with that. That's fine. It didn't need to be anything hugely powerfully visual. It just needed to be there. And then after I'd done that, it was time to start adding more hair details in with that cyan and magenta. I was loving how this was turning out. Honestly, I think I could probably do about 1 million more of these. But ScrawlrBox, you need to send me some more of that paper. So what did you guys think of this box? Have you had this box yourself and had a good play with it, or are you just watching out of curiosity? Let me know. I loved it. I think I've made it quite clear. I really enjoyed it. It didn't need to be overly complicated. The Ecoline pens are really nice pens to have, and they last for absolutely ages. I've got some that are years old now. Sometimes the colours can be a little bit bleedy with them, for want of better words there, but I think that's probably just a characteristic of how they behave, and if you can kind of accept that, then you can kind of work around it or work with it as well. They layer up really nicely, and as well, if you're feeling particularly adventurous with them, there's all sorts of different things you can do. You can throw salt on them if you use like a watercolour, or once it's dried you can use a, I guess, is it the ColorX solution? Either way, you can have a lot of fun with these. They're just fun, and they're quite useful, and they're nice. That's all I can say. That is my professional opinion there. Even the Copic liner pen, I mean, it's just a liner pen at the end of the day, but it just glided over that lovely textured paper, and normally liner pens trip up on something with a bit of texture on it. Not this. Very nice, very happy with it. And as well, I was quite happy that for want of better words again, the wetness of the ink didn't reactivate the eco line underneath it, because sometimes that can happen. Not in this case, so I was very pleased. Just to add a little bit of contrast, I thought I would add a little bit of shading there with that 2B pencil, and it worked really nicely. I thought, let's just make her hair colourful and then the rest of her can be grey, and I don't know, I'm sure there's some powerful message you can interpret from that, but let's just take it on face value. I wanted a contrast. I do use a blending stump there, and yes, that's not included in the box either, but you could also rip a bit of cardboard from the box and do it that way. It's just I happen to have a blending stump and thought, why not? And it blended beautifully on this paper. And again, just added that nice contrast. I'm really happy with how this came out, and I enjoyed doing it. I think it was just something that I needed to do. I was even very, very happy with the removal of the washi tape. It's not that often I get a super crisp line, but look at that. I mean, yeah, this box just made me happy, and I think I needed that. Obviously, pop my insignia in the corner down there, which means this piece is finished. And I do hope you have enjoyed the waffling and the process of me creating this. I definitely did, so I'm happy with that. Again, I just want to say a massive thank you for your kind messages from earlier in the week. And of course, a massive thank you as always for watching. Again, I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope you found it useful as well if you've not used these supplies before. And of course, there should be some videos and playlist on screen that I think you're going to enjoy. So why not give it a click? And I'll see you lovely lots soon. Bye!